Change does not begin in the world around you. Change begins in silence, in stillness, and in the mind. To become unrecognizable is not about pretending, it is about shedding what is false. 1 week, 7 days, 168 hours, that is enough not to become someone new, but to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. Let me offer you 4 key principles that, if practiced with sincerity, will make you unrecognizable. Not to others first, but to the version of yourself you once settled for. Before the sun rises, rise above your thoughts, because the way you begin the day is the way you live your life. And if you want to become unrecognizable in 1 week, then the morning is your starting line. It is the gate through which your transformation must. Walk in silence, in solitude, before the world speaks to you, before opinions touch your mind, before the weight of responsibility pulls at your attention. You must claim the first light of the day as yours, not to check messages, not to scroll, not to run away from yourself, but to meet yourself fully, to sit in stillness and listen, because in the silence you will hear the truth of how far you've drifted from your own center. You cannot change if you wake up reacting to everything. If the first thing you see is someone else's life, someone else's noise, someone else's urgency, how can you lead your day when you begin by following? How can you become the master of your mind if you start by giving it away to distraction? The first hour of your day must be treated as sacred. It is the temple of your discipline. It is the fire that will shape the steel of your spirit. Rise before the sun, not just once, not just twice, but every day, until it becomes your rhythm, until the silence becomes your teacher and the discipline becomes your nature. As you wake, do not speak, do not seek, do not explain. Begin with breath, because the breath is the gate, the anchor, the oldest wisdom that brings you back to now. Inhale deeply and notice the stillness. Hold it. Exhale slowly and release the weight that does not belong to you anymore. Begin to move, not for fitness, not for appearance, but for presence. Feel each stretch, each push, each movement as a reminder that this body is yours, and this life is not for drifting, it is for driving. Let your sweat remind you that change is not a thought, it is a force, a fire that you must stoke every single day. Let this morning training be your way of honoring yourself, not with perfection but with effort. Show up even when you don't want to, because the version of you that wants to stay in bed is not the version that will become unrecognizable in 1 week. Let him fade, let her rest, let them sleep. You are not here to be the same, you are here to transcend what you were, and that means facing discomfort, not avoiding it. Sit. After you move, close your eyes, listen again to the breath and let the mind speak. But this time do not react. Watch the thoughts pass. They will come, some familiar, some heavy, some weak. Let them pass, because you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them, the watcher, the quiet power, the one who decides. And the breath deepens. Make a vow, a quiet vow to yourself, that today you will live with intention, not just go through motions, that you will act with clarity, not confusion, that you will respond, not react. The morning is not about doing many things, it is about doing one thing fully, being fully present with yourself, because that presence is the foundation of every transformation. In this presence, you build a new identity, not with words, but with actions. You do not need to tell the world you are changing. Let them feel it in your silence, in your energy, in your eyes. You will become unrecognizable, not because you shouted louder, but because you listened deeper, moved truer, breathed slower, and chose a path that only the disciplined walk. Do not compromise your morning for anything, because that is the moment when you align with your highest standard, when you remind yourself who you are becoming, not just who you have been. Most people start their day already behind, already anxious, already lost in thought. Do not be like most people. This is the week you choose to be uncommon, the week you build the foundation of a disciplined life. And if the foundation is weak, everything else will crumble. But if it is strong, you will rise no matter what comes. The way you wake up determines how you meet the world. If you wake up late, distracted and hurried, you will meet life with the same scattered energy. But if you wake up clear, calm and strong, then your actions will reflect that power. The world will not recognize you because the old you is gone, burned away in the fire of morning discipline. Start with breath, continue with movement, sit in silence, then go out into the world and act with purpose. Not everyone will understand your change, and that is okay. They are not supposed to understand, they are supposed to feel it. You are becoming unrecognizable, not because of what you say, but because of how you live. And it begins with the morning every day for 7 days. And if you do this not once, not twice, but with full presence and commitment, then you will not need to announce your transformation. It will speak for itself. And the version of you that once settled for less will no longer exist. Begin tomorrow before the sun with breath, with stillness, with discipline, and keep going until the silence speaks and the fire wakes up inside of you. Then keep going. A weak body cannot carry a strong spirit. And in your journey to become unrecognizable in 1 week, the body must be brought into alignment with the mind, because without the physical foundation, the mind collapses. The spirit fades and discipline becomes a fragile illusion. Transformation demands movement, not casual, not optional, but purposeful and sacred. The body holds memory, the body holds patterns. If you want to break the old ones, you must teach the body something new. Each time you push past the point of comfort, you show the mind what is possible. You train the spirit through repetition, through resistance, through effort that leaves no room for doubt. The world has become soft and full of excuses. People wait to feel motivated before they move. But if you wait for motivation, you will wait forever. Movement is not about mood, it is about mission. And if your mission is to become unrecognizable, then you must move every day like your identity depends on it, because it does. Do not train to impress, train to express. Train not to change how you look, but to change how you carry yourself. A strong body walks with certainty, it does not shrink or hesitate. A strong body supports a sharp mind, it does not break under stress, it does not complain when life becomes heavy. Your training is the preparation for life. It is not separate from your path, it is the path itself. If you wish to see a different result, you must train like a different person. Not the version of you that gives up, not the one who skips steps, but the one who shows up every single day, even when the body aches, even when the voice in your head says rest, because that voice is not truth. It is comfort disguised as logic, and it will keep you small if you listen to it too long. Start small if you must, but start with intensity if you want change. This is not the time to seek balance. It is the time to seek transformation. Train early, train hard, and train with focus. When you move, let it be intentional. Let each repetition be a conversation between you and your old self. Every time you push, every time you refuse to quit, you are saying clearly, I am not that person anymore. This is not about fitness, this is about identity. You cannot think your way into becoming unrecognizable. You must act your way into it. And training the body is the most direct path to acting different, because it is immediate, it is undeniable, and it demands full presence. When you train your body with focus, your breath sharpens your thoughts. Align, your awareness expands. Training becomes meditation in motion. Pain becomes meditation in motion. Training becomes your teacher. Sweat becomes your proof, and consistency becomes your new name. The pain of discipline is always less than the pain of regret, but you will never know that until you choose to suffer now rather than suffer later. And you will suffer later if you choose laziness, if you choose comfort, If you choose to sit while your purpose asks you to rise, understand this: your body is the instrument through which your spirit plays. If the instrument is weak, the music cannot be heard. So strengthen the instrument, polish it, sharpen it, until every movement speaks with clarity, until every step you take announces, I am here, and I am not who I used to be. 1 week is enough to remind the body of its power, not to reach perfection but to reset the standard. If you train with full effort for 7 days, your body will begin to obey you again. Your posture will shift, your energy will rise, your presence will expand. Others may not understand why, but they will feel it, because when someone trains with purpose, it shows not in the muscles, but in the silence, in the discipline, in the way they stand, in the way they carry their pain without making noise. Train in solitude if you must, because growth is not a performance. It is a private fire you light within yourself. Do not train for validation. Do not train for comparison. Train because you owe it to yourself to be strong enough to carry the life you say you want. You cannot ask for greatness with a body that resists effort. The body must be brought under command, and the only way to do that is through repetition, discipline, sweat, failure, correction, and more repetition again. Each session is not just a workout. It is a statement: I will not remain the same. And if you say that enough times, through your actions, not your words, then your body will begin to believe you. And when your body believes you, your confidence becomes real, not borrowed, not fragile, not fake, but rooted in action, rooted in earned strength. You no longer have to pretend to be disciplined. You are disciplined because you have done the work. This is how you become unrecognizable, not by changing your clothes or changing your voice, but by changing the relationship between your mind and your body, until they are no longer at war but united on one mission: to rise, to overcome, to leave no doubt. Every drop of sweat is a vote for the future you want. Every time you train when you could have rested is a reminder that you are no longer the person who quits, who hides, who hopes without acting. Let your training be quiet, let it be consistent, and let it be painful, because pain is the signal that you are stepping into a new identity. You will not grow in ease, you will not evolve in comfort, and the body will not transform without resistance. Train hard because life is hard, and your body must be ready for it. Train because the stronger you are, the more peace you can hold, the more pressure you can handle, the more life you can live without breaking. By the end of this week, your body will not be the same, because you chose to treat it like a temple, not a trash can, like a tool, not a burden. It will stand taller, it will breathe deeper, it will walk with a quiet confidence that others may not understand, but they will feel, and that is all you need to become unrecognizable. One action, one breath, one session at a time. Keep moving. Your greatest opponent lives between your ears, not in the world, not in the faces you see, not in the challenges you face each day. The real battle happens within. And if you want to become unrecognizable in 1 week, you must begin by silencing the noise inside you, because no matter how strong your body becomes, no matter how disciplined your actions may be, if your mind is cluttered, if your thoughts control you instead of you controlling them, then you will never feel peace. And without peace, there is no transformation. Every thought has power, but not every thought is truth. The voice that tells you to stop, the one that whispers you are not enough, that you are too late, too tired, too broken. That voice is not you. It is only an echo of old fear, old patterns, old wounds that were never healed. You must learn to separate yourself from that voice, because if you believe every thought you think, you become a prisoner in a world of your own making. And no matter how free you look on the outside, you will still be chained. You begin to master the mind by watching it, by sitting in silence, not for answers, but for observation. You do not fight your thoughts. You do not resist them. You do not argue. You watch, you breathe, and you allow them to rise like smoke and pass like wind, because they will pass. If you do not feed them, the silence is your weapon. And your refuge. It is in the silence where you meet your real self, not the self who performs, not the one who wears masks, but the one who is behind it all, watching, waiting, enduring. There is a practice most people avoid, and it is the practice of doing nothing, of sitting alone with their thoughts, without music, without distraction, without movement, just sitting and breathing and noticing. Because in that space, you will come face to face with your patterns, your fears, your habits. You will hear the stories you tell yourself. You will feel the emotions you bury. And if you are strong enough to sit through the discomfort, something beautiful happens. The noise fades and what is left is clarity, a still voice that speaks not from fear, but from truth. You must create space in your day to disconnect, not from the world, but from the lies you have believed for too long. You do not need to be constantly stimulated, constantly entertained, constantly connected, because all of that is a way to run from yourself. And you cannot become unrecognizable by running. You become unrecognizable by facing everything you used to avoid. And the mind is the final mountain you must climb. It is not fast. It is not easy, but it is necessary. When you silence the noise, your actions become pure. You no longer seek to prove. You no longer seek approval. You no longer explain yourself or chase attention, because your peace comes from within, not from the validation of others. And that peace is unshakable. Once it is earned, it gives you a presence that cannot be copied, a calm that others feel, a strength that does not shout because it does not need to. Every day you must take time to unplug from the chaos, even if it is only a few minutes. Sit in stillness, listen to your breath, feel your body, feel your heartbeat. Remind yourself that you are alive. And that alone is power. When thoughts come, do not judge them, do not label them, just notice them. When emotions rise, do not suppress them. Feel them, allow them, and let them pass. The mind is like water, it becomes clear only when it is still. Do not try to control every thought. Do not aim for perfection. Simply aim for awareness, because awareness is the beginning of change. Once you see your patterns, you can break them. Once you hear your excuses, you can silence them. Once you feel your fear, you can walk through it. But none of this is possible if your life is too loud, if your mind is never still, if your energy is always scattered. You must also guard what enters your mind, guard your environment, guard your conversations, guard your attention, because everything you consume becomes part of your thoughts, and what you think becomes what you believe, and what you believe becomes who you are. Be ruthless with your mental diet, just as you would with your physical one. Do not allow gossip. Do not engage in negativity. Do not entertain things that drain your peace, because every moment spent in low energy is a step away from who you want to become. Speak less, observe more. This week, do not waste your words in explanation or complaint. Conserve your energy for action. Listen deeply and speak only with purpose. This trains the mind to value silence and precision over noise and reaction. It gives you space to choose your response rather than reacting out of habit. It teaches you that you are not a slave to impulse, you are a master of your state. You will know your mind is changing when you stop needing to be right, when you stop needing to respond, when you stop seeking approval and instead you seek alignment. Your actions match your values, your thoughts match your goals, your presence matches your vision. That is power, not loud, not proud, just present and precise. Be alone often, not because you dislike others, but because you respect the silence enough to visit it regularly. Solitude is not isolation, it is preparation. It is in solitude that warriors are made, because they hear what others drown out. They see what others overlook, and they become who others cannot. The inner dialogue you hold shapes your outer life. So if the voice in your head is kind, if it is disciplined, if it is clear, then your decisions, your relationships, your path will reflect that change. and others will feel it even if they do not understand it. You become unrecognizable, not by changing your surroundings, but by changing your inner world, and from that world, everything else shifts. Keep the silence, make it sacred, do not betray it with meaningless noise. Return to it when the world tries to pull you away, and over time, the mind will obey it. Will follow your breath instead of fear. It will follow your purpose instead of pain. It will become your ally instead of your enemy. And when that happens, you will feel peace, not from the outside, but from the inside. And that is how you know the transformation has begun. Keep watching your thoughts and keep choosing your peace. The warrior does not rise to the level of his goals, he falls to the level of his training. And in the same way, your life does not rise to your ambitions, it falls to the level of your standards. If you want to become unrecognizable in 1 week, then you must raise your standards so high that the version of you who settled for average no longer recognizes the reflection staring back in the mirror. This is not about goals. This is not about vision boards. This is about your daily code. The line you do not cross, the line you refuse to drop below, no matter how tired, no matter how discouraged, no matter how unseen. When you decide that this is who I am and this is what I do, then your life begins to reshape itself around that truth. But most people set goals without changing their standard. They say they want discipline, but allow excuses. They say they want growth, but keep toxic habits. They say they want to change, but live like the old self each day. If the new you wants to rise, the old you must be buried, not with regret, but with choice. You bury the old you. Each time you choose consistency over comfort, each time you move with purpose instead of passivity, each time you uphold a higher standard than what your past required. You must define your standard clearly in your actions, not in your mind. You must show through your behavior what is acceptable and what is not. You do not need to tell people what your standard is. They will feel it. They will see it in the way you train, in the way you speak, in the way you keep your word, in the way you walk into a room without trying to prove anything. You are not raising your voice, you are raising your energy. And that kind of power cannot be faked. It can only be earned. The reason people fail to transform is not because they lack time or resources. It is because they allow themselves to be pulled down by the comfort of their old standard. Every time you skip your routine, every time you lower your expectations to match your feelings instead of your mission, you reinforce weakness, and weakness does not need permission, it only needs repetition. Your standard must become your shield when you are tired, your sword. When you are doubting, your fire. When everything around you feels cold. When you set a high standard and live by it long enough, you stop needing to force motivation because your behavior flows from identity. You no longer ask, should I do this today? You already know the answer because it is who you are. Not something you try to be, not something you hope to be, something you embody in silence, in the dark when no one watches and no one claps. You still do what is required, not because someone told you to, not because you feel like it, but because you made a vow to yourself and you do not break your word, not even in secret. There will be moments in this week when your old self knocks on the door, reminding you of how easy it was to let go, how safe it felt to lower the bar, how normal it is to give up after a few days. And you must respond not with noise, not with anger, but with action. You train anyway, you wake up anyway, you keep your promise anyway, because that is your new standard. And you do not drop for anything. You will see people who say they want change but live like yesterday. They will distract you, they will tempt you, they will ask you to explain yourself. But do not lower your voice to match their confusion. Speak only through consistency. Let them feel the shift and wonder where your old self went. The higher your standard, the more pressure you will feel. But pressure is not the enemy, it is the process. Pressure builds focus. Pressure sharpens presence. Pressure separates the serious from the seekers. And you are not here this week to seek inspiration. You are here to become someone no one recognizes, not because you shouted louder, but because you outlived your excuses and outworked your comfort. The pressure will not break you, it will reveal you. Do not confuse rest with weakness. True rest is earned through effort and protected through boundaries. But most people rest before the work. Most people quit before the reward. You are not most people. When you raise your standard, even your rest has a rhythm, even your silence has strength. You eat with awareness. You walk with purpose. You do not drift through the day like a leaf in the wind. You walk through it like a flame with direction. You are the example of your own standard. If you want respect, carry yourself with discipline. If you want clarity, remove distraction. If you want greatness, act like it is already in you. Because it is not about becoming, it is about remembering that deep down under the noise, under the comfort, under the self-doubt, there is a version of you who knows exactly what is required, and that version does not need to be motivated, he needs to be obeyed. Each day you live with this standard. The old you weakens. The voice of laziness fades, the identity of the past begins to dissolve, and what rises in its place is not louder, it is clearer, more focused, more grounded, and that kind of change cannot be faked. You cannot buy it, you cannot wish for it, you earn it. Through each moment of decision, and if you make the right decision enough times over these 7 days, then you will walk into the 8th day as someone unrecognizable, not just to the world, but to the version of you that once gave in. Others will see the shift not because you told them, but because your actions no longer align with the person they remember. You do not need to explain the new standard, you simply refuse to drop below it. And when you live this way long enough, your life begins to reflect the level of your training, not your feelings, not your doubts, your training. And that is how the transformation becomes permanent. Keep your standard high and your energy higher. Stay committed even in silence. Act with precision even in fatigue. Protect your discipline like it is your identity, because it is now. Let the world see who you have chosen to become.